Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you for hitting me up in the tip jar. It means a lot to me to keep this little transmission I got going for many years now, and it's grown to this, and hopefully I can grow to studio level and convert my two-car garage that I rarely use into something more productive. Who knows? Anyways, guys, I got a really good one for you guys, and guys, open your ears on this one, especially if you're living in Canada. That's why this video is labeled breath samples at home. Yeah, so guys, especially if you're living down south in the United States of America, guys, spare a thought for me. I live in Canada, and let's go over this. This is a pretty big deal. Police in Canada can now demand breath samples in bars at home. So samples in bars at home. So bars, comma, at home. So not if you have a bar in your house, at your house. Watch above. There is growing concern about sweeping new police powers when it comes to impaired driving and where breath tests can be conducted. Okay, I remember back in the 80s, like, be very frank, like, drinking and driving was a huge problem back in the early 80s, 81, 82, 83, 84, up to 87. Lots of ads on commercial ads where give me those keys, you're not driving, friends don't let friends drink and drive, and blah, 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 and it was a big deal back in the early 80s because too many people were getting into accidents and too many innocent people dying and families, and I'm all for that, you know, promoting, you know, this mad Mothers Against Drug Driving. I am in 100% in promotion, and I promote all these awareness videos and commercials and videos they show us in school growing up, and videos that and these groups that come together to battle drunk driving, Mothers Against Drunk Driving and stuff. I'm 100% in for this. I believe in this. I believe in what they do because, you know, I drink maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year max. Last year, I counted how many times I drank. I drank twice on the show, here, live on Mike in the Night. And I drank 3 other times with friends for, one for my daughter's birthday, one for my birthday, and I think it was one with just a random time I had a drink. And that's it. And this year, I haven't drank yet. It's the 9th or 10th. What is it? The 13th of the year. So I'm not worried about drinking it because I don't drink. I don't even care. And if I do, it's at home. But they could test you at home. So let's read this article, fine-tooth comb, and find out what exactly is going on. It may sound unbelievable, but Canada's revised its laws on impaired driving could see police demand breath samples for people in bars, restaurants, or even at home. Imagine you're sitting at a restaurant, you're on your first date with your new girlfriend, and you're so excited, and you got your tie on, and you ordered a ice water because you don't want to drink, and you know because you're driving and you want to be a gentleman, and some cop comes up to you, man, I need to breathalyze you. It's a law. I could throw you in jail. It's like, whoa, where did this come from? And if you say no, you could be arrested, face criminal record, ordered to pay a fine, and subjected to a driving suspension. Why? I think I know why, and I gotta make a tinfoil hat for the show for me to put on once in a while when I want to come up with a couple of conspiracy theories. It's because it's the last of the working poor middle class. They don't do this to homeless drunk people or drugged people because they can't pay the fines. I think this is, and take away their license so they can't go to work. So I think this is the last attack on the working poor middle class. This is me, and this is my tinfoil hat talking. But now let's get back to the article. You could be in violation of impaired driving laws even 2 hours after you've been driving. Now, the onus is on drivers to prove they weren't impaired when they were on the road. Guys, I need you to share this video and get this out there because this is a big deal. I'm not joking. It's ridiculous. It's basically criminalizing you having a drink at your kitchen table. A Vancouver criminal defense lawyer who specializes in impaired driving cases told Global News. Oh yeah, there's another article. Returning bottles to the beer store, beware of possible breath test by police. Oh my god. Okay, in quotations it says, if you start to drink after you get home, the police could show up at your door. They can arrest you, detain you, then take you back to the police station and you can be convicted because your blood alcohol level concentration was over 80 milligrams per 100 milliliters of blood in the 2 hours after you drove. So you get home, you drive, you arrive, you take your jacket off, you sit back and enjoy a drink. You can't do that anymore? Is that what this article is trying to tell me now? Because you can't prove that you weren't drinking drunk? Changes to Section 253 of the Criminal Code of Canada took effect in December, giving police greater powers to seek breath samples from drivers who might be driving while impaired. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I get pulled over. Would you like to do a breathalyzer test? Sure. You probably might give me a ticket for having bad breath, but that's about it, right? I have nothing. I don't care. Check me. I don't care. Good. Check everyone in the lineup behind me, too. Make sure no one's going to kill somebody on their way home. But in your house? Under the new law, police officers no longer need to have a reasonable suspicion the driver had consumed alcohol. Now, an officer can demand a sample from drivers for any reason at any time. While many Canadians have heard about that part in new legislation, lawyers said the 2-hour provision has gone unreported. The public has completely missed this one, said Joseph Neuberger, a Toronto criminal defense lawyer. He describes a scenario in which someone has gone home and watches a hockey game, enjoys a few beers, and gets a knock on the door from the police, who received a tip about someone in the house. Okay, Big Brother's watching you. There's always somebody working for the man. Someone in the house who was driving a vehicle suspiciously. Wow. The person answers the door and they say, "Sir, we've got a complaint about your driving. We need to provide a sample," said Neuberger, noting that if a person failed to provide that sample, it would likely lead to an arrest. Wow. And then in quotations, says, "It's serious erosion of civil liberties," said Toronto criminal defense lawyer Michael Engel, whose practices focus on almost exclusively on impaired driving cases. Nobody cares about this notification here. Engel said that someone could be unjustly prosecuted if a disgruntled business associate or spouse called police while with a complaint and an officer went to investigate the person or person's home or place of business. Police could demand a breath sample. Husbands or wives in the course of separations would drop a dime on their partner, Engel said, describing the potential for the law's abuse by those calling police out of spite, for example. It casts a net too wide. It's going to be potentially criminalizing innocent behavior. Guys, this is huge. Share this. Share this video, guys. This is huge. In an instance where someone was drinking in a public place, Dork Sheko said it would be hard for someone to prove they were impaired when they were driving earlier. If, in quotations, the police came to find you at the restaurant and they came to take you out of the restaurant despite the fact that you've been drinking at the restaurant, maybe you were going to drive away, he said, arguing the rules are excessive. It is profoundly stupid. So most people assume it can't be. But that's what the law is now. You will now see it happen. I guarantee it. The federal government brought in revised law in an effort to reduce the fatalities on the road. Impaired driving is the leading criminal cause of death and injury in Canada, said Minister of Justice and Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould in December. I believe that these reforms will result in fewer road deaths and fewer Canadian families devastated by the effects of impaired driver. This is one of the most significant changes to the laws related to impaired driving in more than 40 years, is another way that we are modernizing the criminal justice system. Wow. So, guys, to me, this seems like super Orwellian, like beyond Orwellian. And now, if you don't provide a breath sample at your house, they could take you away. Wow. In response to Global News report about the implications of the revised legislation, a government spokesperson said there was no cause for alarm, despite warnings from defense lawyers around the city. Mandatory alcohol screening only applies at the roadside, nowhere else. The law is clear on that, said David Taylor, Director of Communications for the Minister of Justice, Attorney General of Canada. The 2-hour rule in the new impaired driving law was put into place to limit the use of certain defenses in drunk driving cases, Taylor said, and written in the statement. It is also in at least 16 states and has been upheld by their courts in order to seek a breath sample after drivers no longer behind the wheel. A police officer would require responsible grounds to believe that person was impaired while they were driving. While criminal lawyers predict the new law will be challenged likely through the appeal courts and even to the Supreme Courts of Canada, they expect that the processes will take several years. In the meantime, they say drivers are vulnerable to unfair arrest and prosecution. Guys, here's the problem. What about the drunk drivers they do catch? Let me see if I could find. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay, I found it. Thank you, God, for finding this article for me. Okay. So, okay, then what do they do? If they could prevent drunk driving, okay, but what about the people that do get caught and kill family members? Drunk driver who killed a family of 4 moved to Healing Lodge after serving 1 month in jail. Oh, this has got music. The relatives of a family of 4 who killed by a drunk driver near Saskatoon are outraged, where Catherine McKay was found guilty of impaired driving, causing death after she ran a stoplight. The victim's family say it's disappointed McKay was moved to a minimum security hostel facility to serve her 10-year sentence. So she's in a healing lodge, basically, just getting massages and stuff. She will be allowed to leave on supervised day trips. The Okonie-Ochi Healing Lodge is one of the 9 federal correctional facilities that use indigenous approaches to rehabilitate offenders. The Healing Lodge is one of the 9 federal correction facilities using indigenous rehabilitate offenders. Sorry, I read that. So, I kind of wanted to throw this out there, guys. So, I mean, people aren't even being prosecuted that are caught. You know what I'm saying? I think this is more of a ploy. Then why don't they make an example of this lady and show what happens when you... But no, she gets out after serving 1 month. A man who lost his son and daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren to a drunk driver says he was disappointed to learn the woman was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the child's death, was removed from a minimum security to a minimum security healing lodge just months after the sentencing. So, my heart and prayers go out to this family. And she had 6 or 7 drinks. She's in this indigenous program here. And part of the Regina whatever program. And now she's been put in this indigenous program. She had 7 or 8 drinks at the party. And and she pleaded guilty. 4 counts of impaired driving causing death. Joint submission by the Crown Defense. She had consumed at least 7 drinks. Sorry, I thought it was 8. And been driving 120 kilometers an hour. And she blew a light. So, where were the police then to stop this from happening? That's the question. Like, I mean, okay, then now somebody gets caught doing it. You get less penalization getting caught doing this than you would if you would have done it from home. So I'm kind of defending the whole housing, being at home while this happens, or demanding a breath test at home. That's what I mean. Stopping on the roadside and demanding a breath test, that's fine. I don't care. But coming to people's homes, it's like, are you serious? Anyways, my prayers go out to this family here. It really does. I read this article. It left me in tears. Absolutely left me in tears when I found out what happened. And yeah, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.